Today, I have a really special guest I'm excited to interview. And no, it is actually not a player. This is going to be Jen Henderson. She is a mother of a player that I have worked with, Jack Henderson. And I am going to be interviewing her about her experience from being a mother of a player in the program and everything she saw from her perspective, and also some of the things about getting her son in the program. So I'm going to be interviewing her today in depth about her whole experience, again, as a mom. This is going to speak to any of you guys who are parents right now and are curious about getting your son in the program, or just also a player to see an adult's evaluation of what I do. I'm super excited to introduce Jen, and without further ado, let's hear from her.
Hi, I'm Jen Henderson. I am Jack Henderson's mom. He's going into the ninth grade at Stony Point High School here in Round Rock, Texas. That's just outside of Austin. He plays at Lone Star Baseball Club right now. That's his travel ball club. I'm excited to have this interview and to explain all the benefits of the program to other parents.
Absolutely, Jen. You were really eager to get on this call as much as I wanted to have you. So let's just I wanted to know, why did you want to share your experience?
I think having a highly focused program that can be tailored to a specific kid's needs is second to none. It's not something that you can find in every coach. It takes a high level elite mindset and someone who's been there, done that to really connect with my player and give them the tools they need to be a better position player.
Absolutely, I love it. And I'm sure, especially if a parent's watching this right now, they can connect to that for, what their son needs. Obviously, and I've said it so many times, catching is the hardest position in all of sports. And your son was probably just thrown back there and told, hey, catch the ball, block the ball, and he got no real guidance. So that's exactly what I like to do. And Jen is one of those who's able to value that for her own son. So let's get into some of the questions I have and all that. Where was your son and family in his career before you guys started working with me?
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about how Jack even became a catcher. Back when Jack was playing youth baseball, I was coaching the team and nobody wanted to catch. And so I told him, hey, Jack, you're the coach's kid, so you get to catch. And I don't think he was very happy with me back then, but he got to really love the position. And, as he's grown and gone through the years with this, he gets more confident every day. He's got the skill set of a catcher, and he just lacked a little bit of confidence. And he lacked a little bit of knowing which skills to work on to be a better player. And that's really why we came looking for you, is because we needed him to have those elite level skills that a parent can't coach.
And what challenges do you think he was having, confidence wise, skill wise, playing time as he progressed as a catcher?
I think he lacked the confidence behind the plate, because there wasn't a catching specific coach in his network that could help him get the playing time he wanted. He was playing about half the time. He just lacked the mental leadership that he needed to be that high level catcher.
Was there anything as mom, especially, that you saw he was struggling with that was affecting him emotionally?
Yeah, he wants to play at a very high level. He is a very technical catcher. We have to work really hard. He has athleticism, but he has to work really hard because he's a very technical catcher. So it takes him rep after rep after rep to really get there. And he did struggle emotionally with that for a long time. And he struggled with knowing exactly what to work on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and that is one thing about Jack I learned too. I mean, he's definitely striving for perfection. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely. Did he ever have a true mentor or individualized catching coach before me to help him in all this?
He's had some coaches who have worked with him on catching. There were a couple of, that would coach him in batting and fielding and add catching into that. There wasn't one that was just individualized to catching. Now, he's been to some one day camps and some specialized programs, but never one that was just a true mentor for catching. He's had one for hitting, he's had one for pitching, but never a true mentor for just catching.
100%. And that's how it is for a lot of players out there too. So, I know it was important for you guys to find that. I know when we met for the first time, that was something you guys were definitely looking for. Overall, like what was, if you had to put it into a sentence, where was he before in his catching career before we started working together?
So he was getting about half the reps unless he was the only catcher. He just lacked the confidence. He lacked the really technical skills behind what he was doing. He lacked the connection between why he did a drill and how it translated to the game. He lacked someone to tell him exactly the reasons why he was doing what he did. He would watch YouTube videos. He would go to a 1 day camp. He just lacked someone who has been there and done that and understands the outcome they're looking for.
I think that's very accurate for what I saw, even just meeting you guys for the very first time of where he was. So let's kind of talk about any of the skepticism and hesitations you had once you finally met me, once you got on that first call to see what I do. Were you skeptical about online remote training, anything I had to offer in the program, or just give me a full rundown of how that went as a mom's perspective?
Being a professional in through COVID, it really has showed me that you can do remote and online training. You can have a different mindset than we ever had before. And so I was a little bit skeptical about is there going to be accountability? Is there going to be a way to make sure that the program's working? I worried a little bit about is he going to get the same benefits remotely that he could in person?
Honestly, this stuff is all new, right? Like this is all something. There's three options for catchers to get better right now. It's scroll on social media and do it their own, like find drills for them to do their own. I know Jack said he was doing that. Group work at a high school or club ball practice. This is where you're just working with a group of catchers, maybe 1 hour a week, part of your dues you're paying. And then number three is work with the catching coach, pay for his time 1 hour a week, and you still aren't getting anything the other 6 days a week. This is new. This is like the new fourth option of like consistency and doing things each day. But I think what a lot of people get hung up on is like, oh well, it's remote, it's it's getting delivered here. Jack, one of the things he said he liked the most, I know when I asked him a while ago, he's like, oh, being able to do this in my backyard and know exactly what I need to do, like win. It's like, yeah, you don't have to go somewhere, to a facility. Some guys aren't comfortable with like training each day outside of what they're used to. So I think that's cool as a mom's perspective for you to say that. Did you wonder if it'd be worth the time or the financial investment ever?
I wondered if it would be worth the time. I wondered if the risk was going to pay off with the rewards he was going to get. I did wonder, is this the right path for my player? Is this something that he can keep up with? Is it something he's even willing to do? We had a lot of conversations outside of the one with you at home about what kind of commitment is it going to take and is he willing to put that time and effort? I'm glad he did. I'm glad we took the risk. It absolutely was worth it.
So what made you take the leap of faith despite any of those doubts, any of those things, it being new?
In the first conversation we had with you, you really connected with Jack. And it was the conversation, while yes, I was part of it, and yes, I had to make the decision, and yes, I have to pay the bill. It was really about the connection between you and Jack. And it was about Jack wanting to learn more. And he's got a very elite level mindset where he wants to work harder when no one's looking so that he can progress faster and be at a higher level than the kids his age. It's very position specific instruction that you give him. And that's what he wanted. He found you and came to me and said, Mom, can we have this a conversation with Brock? Can we look at this program? I think it could help me. And so it really was a lot of Jack wanting to do it on his own.
You definitely challenged me as a coach because of how attentive he is. And some of the questions he asks that are things I didn't even realize maybe that's what catchers need to hear. And he was one of the first guys to ask those like questions that are like very unique. And you're like, that is a great question. Yeah, let me figure that out. Let me apply that. And he did his work, which was great. And sometimes he's hard on himself, like, hey, I missed one day. I'm like, dude, you're gonna be okay. Like, get back on track. You could tell it beat him up. So he very, very hardworking kid. A lot of parents say, my kid works hard. He works hard. It's like, no, like until I see it, I'll believe it. And he was one of the kids where I was like, yes, I fully believe it 100%. So I kind of wanted to ask about the experience inside the program from your perspective. What stood out the most to you about how it's ran? Either the daily plan, the video evaluation, the mentorship community, or just, simply the daily access to me to message whenever you need. What kind of stood out to you the most about any of that?
So there's several things that stood out. One of them is that, I am the parent, I pay the bill. I can monitor the progress that he's doing. I could get on the app and I could see, is he doing what he says he's doing? I could also see the drill progression and the repetition and what you were giving him. I could see that there was consistency to it. One of the things I really liked is that I also have a direct connection to you, Brock. And I could message you and say, hey, Jack's struggling with these things, and you could incorporate that into the training moving forward. And, sometimes it was, hey, can you have a conversation with Jack about this thing? And that helped him so much. And it helped him to know that he could come to you. It helped me to know that I could come to you. And you really had a handle of how to push that forward and how to get those skills right where they needed to be.
100%. Yeah. And I think that's probably, I don't want to put words in any of the parents' mouths, but a lot of what the parents seem like they want the most is for me to be able to be there for their son as a mentor when things didn't go well or when they did go well. Like you would text me like, hey, he had a really tough weekend. He had a few too many pass balls, even though he's, made a transformation in his blocking. And that's going to happen. It's baseball. Like, this is a tough game. And being able to message him and be like, hey, how did it go? And hear from his perspective of, hey, it's okay. I'm over it though. I feel like that's what a parent would want.
Absolutely. It's exactly what I wanted.
That's great. I'm happy to do so. So, did the remote format surprise you? I know we're kind of asking a similar question to what I said before, but like just hearing it was remote in the beginning on the first call and then actually seeing the formula of how I work with them, were you kind of, was it like, okay, this is in depth? What were your thoughts there?
So I feel like we really discussed it well in that initial discovery call. I wasn't really surprised with how it came out and how it worked. So I wasn't really surprised with it. I feel like you did a great job of telling us how it was going to be. You got on the site yourself and you showed us what our end would look like. And so I wasn't surprised once we got started.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I try and be very in depth so you guys can see. And there's nothing I'm trying to gatekeep. There's nothing I'm trying to hold behind the curtain. It's like, hey, this is going to be a rigorous plan. It's going to be exactly what your son needs. He has big goals and dreams. There's a cost to that, time wise, financially, whatever, but more the cost of like the work you have to put in. And if you don't want to do that, then maybe he shouldn't dream as much because, for every big dream, there's a cost. What was your favorite part of watching your son grow week to week?
Watching him develop and watching him go from just being an average player to a standout player, that really inspired me to want to do more and to get him more interested in playing at a higher level.
Absolutely. And week to week, what was some of the process or what was the process and changes you observed from his skills each week from your perspective as mom?
When you guys were working specifically on getting that pop time down, you could see it from week to week how he would change little things and that pop time got so much faster. I know he still has a lot of work to do, but you can definitely see it. I can see a huge development difference between the beginning of the season and now.
100%. Would you say, if I were to ask you, like, was there a moment where it kind of clicked? Not like an overnight, but maybe you showed up to his game and watched him in game and you're like, oh, that's new or that looked good. Was there any moment like that that you remember?
I can remember it's more mental and leadership focused and it's about, before this last season, he wasn't really trusted to call the pitches. And all of a sudden, he was calling all of the pitches. And I remember going, wow, the coach isn't really watching the pitching anymore. He's watching the defense and he's watching to make sure everybody else is doing what they need to. But the coach didn't really have his eye on Jack and he was letting him call the whole game. To me, that shows that he's confident and he's trusted and that his coach really believes in what he's doing.
And it's so cool for you to say that because Jack one time booked just like a one-on-one call with me and asked about pitch calling, and we talked about it, and I was like, you need to go tell your coach you want to call pitches. Most coaches don't know that you want to do it, so they're trying to win by them just doing it. And the fact that like he's taken that over. Jack's one of those kids that I tell him what to do and he like actually does it. He like exactly. And I was like, how'd the conversation go? And he's like, oh, it's good. He said this, he's gonna give me more opportunities. And I'm like, dude, oh, you actually asked him. That's great. So that's what I love about you, Jack, dude. You're just very attentive and you're not shy to ask. It seems like do what you're told in a good way. So we talked about where Jack was. He was a middle school catcher playing club ball, middle school, came to me as an eighth grader and, was having struggles, wasn't where he wanted to be, wasn't maybe getting the innings as much as he wanted to, but more importantly, didn't have the skills and confidence to back up being the guy or having that right foot forward before high school. Then we got in the program, got on that call, saw where he was, got him in the program. He went through it. Now, 6 months later, we're going to talk about the results and transformation he has. And that's the next section I want to get into. But just overall, vaguely, where is Jack? Where'd he end up after working with me?
Jack has played at a higher level than his age is. He's always played a year up, and so it means that not a lot of people see him. So he was playing high school ball as an eighth grader, and I can see that he can hold his own. He's doing really well now. He has become more of the general on the field. He's a leader. He's mentally tougher. He has confidence that I didn't even know he had. And that's really because of the mentorship he found in you.
I like that. Having the skills and the leadership and confidence back there is huge. You definitely have to have those physical skills. You definitely have to have the leadership and confidence. So I love that. Let's talk about that email and kind of the big result we just got.
Well, Jack recently found out that he's going to get a shot to play on the varsity team as a freshman. Around here, that's really unheard of. They are going to, the coach reached out to me and he asked if we could get him in some scrimmage games. And to me that says that he can hold his own. I know he can hold his own with those kids. I know that, just from watching that team last season that he can become that top catcher if he wants to. He's got to push some people out of the way, but at least he's going to get the opportunity to do that. As a mom, I'm so proud. It really speaks to the hard work that Jack has put in, that he wanted to do it. He wants to be a high level catcher. He wants this for himself. It's not me that wants it for him, it's him wanting it more than anybody.
Absolutely. It's so true. And that I was going to ask that same thing because before in the program too, you were like, I just wanted to make sure he would do it. We had a lot of conversations about if he would stick to it. After him going through it and getting the results, what did you see about how he was able to, stick to it? Did this transform his work ethic even more? I know he had a good work ethic, but a lot of kids have a good work ethic when they're working hard, and committing to working hard each day is really hard for players. So, do you feel like he was able to find a deeper root in his work ethic too?
I do. I feel like this program really taught him how to work harder when nobody's looking because the skills he's developed have shown in his play. He sees that working that hard has helped him become more respected. And so, him learning this now to work hard when no one's looking and to work behind the scenes, that it will pay off eventually. I think that's the biggest thing that I could have asked as a parent, to see him excel is it's amazing. It's not something you can even explain.
I'm sure it is cool as a mom. Like, I try and put myself into the point of view of a parent, especially because you guys have seen your kid, since birth. Like, you've seen him grow, you've seen his progressions, you've seen his highs and lows. You know him better, arguably, than he knows himself in a certain way, of like an external way. Like, obviously, he knows his feelings, but it's got to be cool for you to see, like, okay, this is where he was, and then now this is where he's at, and he's happy, he's confident. Like you said before, he's being like a leader, he's being assertive more than you've seen. So I bet that's got to be refreshing as a parent, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's kind of talk about the this is the section I want parents to hear for the value and investment, right? Like, at the end of the day, most of the kids that come into the program, they're not paying for it themselves. There's some kids that go through it that are college kids and do fully invest himself, more power to him, which is cool. But at the end of the day, I think parents want to make sure for what you invest is this worth it. And I kind of wanted to hit on that right now because obviously, any adult's going to know nothing worth doing is going to be absolutely free. And that's just how it is. I put my time and effort into these guys every single day. So, I try and reflect that in the value you get for what you're investing. Absolutely. But looking back, would you say this program was worth the investment you made financially?
Absolutely. There's so many aspects to catching. There's his core, there's his mental, there's the physical aspect. It has all really improved. I feel like he's gained a lot more life skills after this program than he had before. Understanding that hard work will pay off and putting the right work in where it needs to be. I don't think I could have taught him that.
Did you get the value you hoped for or more, would you say then in that question?
Yeah, I think I got more than what I expected. The mental aspect isn't something that I even had my eye on. And I feel like that value is very worth it. It's much more than I expected.
This is kind of an odd question, but a lot of parents, especially if you're a catcher, like he's also a hitter too. He also is may play other positions. So you're not only investing in just his catching, the bigger number is going to be like travel, flight, the club ball dues for all the other things you invest in his baseball. When you look at this investment specifically for his catching, how would you compare the money and time to what you guys just did just for the catching? And how it was worth it compared to the overall, like the camps, the tournaments, the club ball. Where would you say it would compare there?
I think for all of those things that you just talked about, for the travel ball fees, we pay per season. You can break that down per game. The other private lessons he has, we pay, about $100 per lesson. I feel like when you really break this down, if you were to break it down by lesson, it's far cheaper than it would be in person. And he gets all of those same benefits. He has that connection to you. He has the workouts to do. He has a checklist to say, I did that or I didn't do that. It's different with the accountability side. And I think that that is so much better. It's hard to hold someone accountable from a distance, but I think you've done a good job with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And that is the biggest thing that I try to keep a good relationship with the parent is very important in that. So you can be like, hey, Jack, I don't see him doing anything. And I look back on part of the platform I have, I can see if they do their drills. So that's even if I don't hear from guys, as long as I see that they got them done that day and went through it and logged on, like that makes me feel good. Almost every kid is very honest. Almost all of them. Hey, coach, I missed a day. So that's what's cool. And that comes from a deeper root of just building a relationship with them. It's hard to cheat someone you like. So I want to be a coach they like and be like, I don't want, and he knows I didn't do it. So like, it's going to be weird. So yeah, I will say that is in the beginning when I started remote coaching, I was like, that's going to be hard for accountability, but that has yet to be a big issue at all. So that's cool you're saying that. Now, kind of going into speaking to the audience right now for anyone who's like, well, I don't know if my son is the right player. I don't know if he should go through this program or if he's the right fit. Who would you say, Jen, this program is for? What type of catcher and family would get the best results?
You have to have an elite level mindset. You have to want to work hard and you have to want it. You have to want to be the best catcher out there. You have to want to be coached. You have to be available to get the information and use it and do the drills. If you're not all in on this, then you're not going to get the best results. But you do definitely have to want to be better and you have to want to be the best there is.
I could not have said that better. Seriously, that was so good. Now on the other aspect, real quick, what type of catcher should not enroll in this? Should not try and go through the program?
The kids who don't want to work hard, the parents who are looking for that quick fix, those who don't work outside of organized practices, those who don't understand how to hold themselves to a higher standard, those are the kids who are really going to struggle with something like this. Those who just want to pay money to get a result and not put the work in, that's not going to work in this program.
Absolutely not. Yeah. And to be clear, I'm not trying to work with every single catcher out there. I want to help every catcher. There's a lot of free content I put out there that might help them in their journey. But to truly make the transformation, it takes, a kid looking at himself saying, I need help and I'm willing to do whatever it is. And those are the guys I end up working with who make the investment, who get in. So yes, you're exactly right. Typically those people aren't going to get past the first call anyway. So totally that's how it goes. But Jen, I want to open this for you to speak to other parents, advice to other parents. I don't have kids. I'm not a parent yet. So I think you're going to do more good speaking to them than I will. But when speaking to them, what would you have to say to a parent whose son is where yours used to be? What would you have wish you had known sooner, and why should they not wait? So just any of those, I'll give you the floor to kind of hit on all of them.
Sure. So, I can appreciate that you don't have kids yet, but I would challenge you in that too, because all of the kids in your program are your kids. If Jack struggles, then you feel that for him. And, when he does well, you also get to celebrate that with him. And so you're part of the village that it takes to raise a kid. You can't do it on your own. You have to create a village. What I would tell other parents, though, or other kids is, if he can dream it, then he can achieve it. If he wants it, he can go get it. And, if your kid wants the help, then try it. If he's got that elite level mindset where he wants to do it, he wants to be better, there's no reason not to do something like this.
One of the things I also wanted to hear your perspective on too, that piggybacks perfectly on this, and I get this a lot, and I try and give grace because I understand, but a lot of parents are like, well, this is everything we wanted, but we just don't know if we're in the right season to do it. Yet their kid doesn't have that much time in their career left. So why should parents not wait with you now knowing how, flexible the schedule can be, how flexible the program can be, how you could do a lot of it at home? Why should they not wait in delaying their son from being the best version of himself back there?
You know, that elite level mindset takes work. It's not instant. To get to the level that it's going to take to play at a higher level, you have to work really hard. And working in the off season is where you can develop so much. It's where you can get a leg up on someone who's at the exact same level. And so you would want to do this as soon as the kids want in, you should start it because that's going to show them that they can do what they want, that they can get to the higher level, that they can achieve anything they want to achieve.
I love it. Yes. Most players, and this takes a while to develop. And Jack, this is even advice for you going forward, dude, is don't rely on motivation, rely on discipline. But right now, most kids don't have discipline, right? They have what's called motivation, like, oh, I want to do this. This is fun, and then once they get in the program, you're going to need discipline to actually go out and do it. But I do agree with you. As soon as a player shows that he's excited about this and has some new motivation to do it, like get him in and then he's gonna find that discipline. I won't let him not find it. So yeah, I think those are beautiful words from you speaking directly to another parent, especially. That is all the questions I have, and I wanted to open it up for anything else you'd like to share. Maybe anything I've missed about Jack, about you guys, about your story. This has been really awesome so far. So final open-ended thoughts.
There's one thing I wish I would have known sooner, and I wish I would have known that there was the connection that you and Jack have now is second to none. You're there for him in every aspect, whether it be a life lesson, situational awareness, game management. There's a whole big thing out there for him that I didn't know existed. I wish I would have known that. You know, I also think that if you're serious about becoming an elite catcher, then this program is going to give you the tools, the reps, the mindset you need to really lead on the field. It could help you lower your pop time. It could help you get your game to the next level. And it's really going to get that deeper elite mindset to a place you didn't even know existed.
No, I appreciate it so much. And I'm just happy that you can see the relationship I try and build with my guys. I love what I do. I want to help the player I used to be, and I had no mentor. And God put me on that journey for a reason because now I get to do this and I get to realize each day what motivates me is realizing what used to upset me. So I can be motivated to respond to him in a timely manner, to want to help him. And some of my favorite conversations came from just a one-on-one call with Jack. Like he would just be in his room under his bunk bed, just like asking me questions, and I'm like, yeah, I'm more than happy to answer this because that probably meant everything to him. Like that's what he was worried about the most in that moment. and it was really cool, man, and it's awesome. So I'm just glad you even consider me as like a even a little bit of a mentor to him because I absolutely love it. That's why I started this. That's why I love what I do. So Jen, thank you. Thank you so much. I guess any other thoughts?
No, thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me give you my thoughts and feedback on this. I think it's been a great program. I'm excited to see what the next year is going to be like. We are going to continue on this journey for another year. And so hopefully we can do this again in a year from now and compare today to where he's at in a year from now. He's getting some great opportunities, and I can only imagine that in 12 months from now, those opportunities are going to be bigger, better. He's going places, and I can't wait to see where he's going. And I'm excited that you get to go along with him.
Absolutely. And thank you for allowing me to. And yeah, I'm excited to continue to work with Jack, new curriculum, all that stuff, fresh set of everything to help him for where he's at now, for going from like, struggling to now playing offense back there. I like to say of like, hey, taking matters in your own hands, having new skills, and he has those. So I'm excited to help him. I appreciate your guys' time. I know your guys' time is valuable, and it's awesome to hear from a parent. I love hearing from a parent. You guys have a different lens for your kid that is completely different. And you guys truly, what I'm learning, I feel like you just want your son to be happy. You want him to enjoy the game. You realize nothing is forever. And most parents don't even really care if their son makes it to the MLB or not because they know the odds. I think parents are realistic. But like, if he has fun at any level he goes to, even if he goes to college and gets some school paid for and enjoys his career, like that's such a big win for your son. You know what I mean? That is like so big.
There's so many life lessons he learns in this. He's going to know how to work hard. He's going to know how to be a leader. He's going to know how to lead a team even when, times are hard. Baseball is hard. You don't win them all. And so he's learning to lose with grace and win with class.
Love
There's
it.
so much bigger things.
I love it. Well, guys, you heard it here first from the Hendersons, and they're from Texas, and they've been a joy to work with, and we're going to continue to work with them. How they got on the program was by simply going to my website, watching a quick video, and booking a call with me. If you would like to go do the same thing, it's a free call. I'm going to go over your son's situation, how I can help him, and everything I believe is holding him back, and then determine if he's a good fit. If he's a good fit, I'll show you exactly what it looks like to get in the program. So please go ahead, book a call, and you're more than welcome to see that. That's how I was able to work with Jack and Jen here, just simply by doing that. And also, please subscribe to the channel. Don't miss a valuable insight, either testimonial or training for becoming an elite catcher. And like this video as well, guys. Thank you again for your time. And that is everything I have. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.